But the question is, how can we spark interest without seeming kiddish?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Inquiry Zone. My name is Douglas Hunnings, and I'm the Director of the Primary STEM Education here at ETHOS Innovation Center.
Hello, and I'm John Taylor, the Director of STEM Education, also here at the ETHOS Innovation Center.
Yes, and today we are here with another really cool question from a pre-service teacher.
Yes.
John, what's that question?
All right, so here it is, and I love it. And I used to love old teachers because I'd talk to them and they talk about old school and new school. And it's amazing how education's changed. It's changed so much. But the question is, how can we spark interest without seeming kiddish? See, to me, this brings back a memory because I remember a teacher saying once to me, said something like, "Oh, what are we supposed to do? Put on a song and dance for our students every day?" And I'm like, wouldn't that be great? Yes.
So fun.
The thing is, as teachers, we should have some fun with our kids. I think if you have some expertise there, I remember the thing that really threw me off a lot 15, 20 years ago is it's my skill set. Well, I'm missing this. All right. But another teacher who had this skill set, which was rapping. And this couple of teachers, they're rapping with their students. And I was like, I could never do that. And honestly, I never will ever do that. But the students liked it. Mm-hmm. They really liked it. And then not just that, but they learned the content. And so it was a humbling moment, So
I would have to say, when I taught 4th and 6th grade, I had my students help. We were moving around, we were singing, dancing, and there was never a time I felt that my students thought what we were doing was, they would say too babyish, too kiddish. Yes. It was fun. They were engaged and they were learning, and those were experiences that they remembered. Years later, I would have students that would come back and visit me when they're in high school, come back to see me at the elementary, and they would talk about those experiences. They would say, "Oh, do you remember when we did this song and dance? Remember when we made that music video?" I mean, those are fun, and that's what the kids like, no matter the age. I mean, I'm an adult, and I still, when I would go to workshops where we're moving and doing those type of activities, I loved it, even as a grown-up.
Yeah, my background was a secondary teacher, and I spent a lot of time working with students secondary level. I'll tell you, I don't know how many times SpongeBob SquarePants came up. When you're doing physics and it's Squidward versus SpongeBob, it just becomes a whole lot more fun, and it's okay. It's okay for us to let down and be real people with our students. I do think, there's that management idea. We got to keep control, but we got rules in our rooms. We've got, boundaries we set, but the fun can be fun. And, I think there is, we will adjust a little bit because I think as teachers, we can kind of gauge how kiddish things are for the age, what's appropriate. Oh, my phone's ringing. So we'll edit that out in a second. Yep. All right, I'm gonna pause. Let me pause and then go back to this. Oh man. Okay, I don't know what overlap there. I'll have to do some editing, but we'll make it work. So what were we talking about last?
The engagement, and we talked about classroom management, and then of course as a teacher to know how to adjust the lesson if you do think it's too kiddish.
Sure. Yeah. As far as management, it is also, you kind of could think of like a sandwich too, whereas I would often know when I was going to be silly in the class or when I was going to let loose and let down, and then when I was going to bring it back. Mm-hmm. And my students, it's training. As teachers, we train our students what the expectations are. This is our time, we do this, then we bring it back. And that's part of a classroom management. And every teacher has their own style. And so I'm not saying, if you're not comfortable doing, the old song and dance, then, you're not going to do that. You're going to impact kids in different ways. And I don't think a teacher who's seems very dry in class is not effective. In fact, a lot of students go back to those teachers and say, thank you.
They do,
and it's good for students to have a variety of teachers, I think. I think, our goal isn't to become the most popular teacher a student has ever had. The goal is to the biggest impact we can have in their life, to change them. And for us, and in science, we want to really transform their mind into the inquiry process. But I always say during parent-teacher conferences, I would talk to parents and I would say, the kids say, if they're having fun, that's great, because if they're not having fun, I'm not having fun. That was kind of my perspective on it. And so, but you make a good point, because you can actually turn this around too and let the students have the fun time, be the kiddish. It doesn't always have to be the teacher doing that.
Exactly. And what we want to really make sure we talk about within this episode of Inquiry Zone is, those teachers who want to provide some activities that they thought is too kiddish, we want to encourage them, say it's okay to bring it in there.
It is.
Like you said, if your teaching method is more serious, focused, that's okay. We're not saying you have to be bringing these kiddish ideas, these engagement pieces. But for those teachers who are on the fence that want to, but they feel it's not appropriate for the grade level, I would say go for it, try it. Yes. Don't be afraid. Jump into it.
Not at all. And as you can become comfortable with it, I think it can lead to more fun times with you and your students too.
That's right. So, well, thanks again for joining us on the Inquiry Zone. We look forward to seeing you next time.
And don't forget, at the bottom, keep sending us your questions. Reach out. If you have questions, concerns, comments you want to send our way, that's great. We'd love to talk about them in the future and help our colleagues out. That's what we're doing here, helping each other out. So thank you so much for joining us again.
All right, take care, everyone.
ETHOS offers the Inquiry Zone professional development to schools. Helping to ensure a robust, fun, and cross-curricular approach to science is supported in all grades. Please contact us at contact@ethosinc.org.
That is one of my favorite questions. That is so cool. That is so mind-blowing for me. See, and these are pre-service teachers. That is so cool.